tuning in. On this channel, I talk about my homeschooling journey with my 6-year-old twins and my 8-year-old twins. And I just want to put it out there. If you watch my other channels, my other videos, you already know, I will be changing my name. I am not saying what it is yet because I just want to make sure I'm 100%. So if you see that change, then that's what's happening. So I just want to warn you that things might look a little different in the next couple weeks. So right now I'm going over all of the curriculum that we are going to be using this year. I did do a curriculum video that I'll put in the notes below. Check that out. But it may, I can't remember, it may say some things or leave out some things that we are incorporating into our year because, you know, as a homeschooling family, we change our minds a lot. In this particular video, I am going to be discussing what we use for our language arts for my little twins. Before I get into that, if you are new here, welcome. If you've been with me for a while, thank you for tuning in again. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell, that'll remind you when my videos come out, and also give me a thumbs up. That really, really helps me when you click that little thumbs up. So for my little twins, my 6-year-olds, they just turned 6 in June. So technically we have them listed as kindergartners, but my little daughter twin, she can already read. She's been reading since she was 4. My older daughter twin taught her how to read and I didn't even know. One day she just started reading to me and I was like, how did you know how to read? So we've been going through this program and I love it. If I had more kids, I would use this with them 100%. I love this language arts curriculum so much. It is my #1 recommendation to anybody and everybody who will listen. And that is Logic of English, Foundations. So in Logic of English, you will have a Foundations A, you will have a Foundations B, then you have C, and D. These are the teacher's guides. They're hardback, so they're kind of heavy. That is all foundations. After you complete that, you can move up into essentials. On the back, you can see that foundations is for ages 4 to 7. Now again, that's not concrete. It's just giving you kind of like a guideline. And you can see that it's used for mainly lower elementary age children. But again, if you have a child struggling with reading, oh my goodness, I highly recommend just starting with level A. This, I'm gonna go back to my older twins. This taught my older twins how to read and I didn't even realize it. We just went through book A and book B and all of a sudden they were reading. And then it just took off from there. There was no struggle on my part. I wasn't like doing the teach them to read in 100 lessons, which we did try that and it was awful for us. We did this. They love these books. They call them their dragon books. They loved it. Every time I said it was time to do our dragon books, I never got a single like pushback at all. They loved A and B. By the time we got to C with my older twins, not so much, which is why we made a change for our older twins to switch over to Brave Writer, which I have been waiting for because I have been wanting to use Brave Writer before any of my kids were the age to do school. So I'm actually really excited about that. But I still think that this is a phenomenal program for A and B. If you are wanting your kids to learn how to read and have a really good, solid understanding of grammar, vocabulary, spelling. You can also choose whether you want for the writing to be manuscript or cursive. And we chose cursive. We started out following along with the writing program, but then we ended up breaking that apart and completely not using the writing portion in this book because we went over to our cursive curriculum, which I have a video for that and I'll link it below. So after about book A, we didn't do any of the writing in this book for the cursive portion. But I still believe that C and D in foundation are phenomenal if they are still not reading at the level that you want them to read at. Both of my older twins were reading well above the level of this book. So when we were doing level C, it seemed very redundant, and it didn't seem like it was teaching them much, and they weren't enjoying it. So we switched over to DART, and they're so happy. So as far as book A, you have your teacher manual. This is made for a classroom, but you can easily use it for homeschooling, obviously. But it has a lot of stuff in here that you won't need to do because it applies to a classroom. So if you look at one lesson, let's look at lesson 5. Lesson 5, you have, you're learning the sound of z and th, right? And you're asking them to listen for the sound in isolation. So when I say t, I want you to stand up. So they're listening for that t sound. So you say s, b, g, j, d, t. And they hear that and they stand up. And so you do that for a bunch of other letters. When you hear ng, the student will jump. When you hear s, they'll lay down. When you hear th, they will clap. And then you're blending words together. So they're really listening for those separate sounds and knowing that those separate sounds come together to make a word. So when I segment a word, when they get it, they're gonna do the action. So I would say s, it, and then think about it, sit. So they'll sit. Now this took a while for my younger son to grasp. I would say, p, and he would think, and I'd say, p, and he would think, and then he'd say, truck. I'm like, no, not even close. But I tell you, they will get it. They absolutely will get it. Just stick with it. And so they do little fun things like that, which they totally enjoy doing because it's asking them to be active. What I also love about this program is they teach you all the sounds. Some of the programs that I've seen teach you just the short vowel sounds. So when you see the letter A, you say apple, can, man. But it's not teaching you that A also says, it says a, and you learn that from the very beginning of this program. You learn all the sounds of each letter. And I think that's why my kids read so quickly, because if they know all the sounds, when they're sounding a word out and it doesn't seem quite right, they can try a different sound and, oh yeah, that sounds right. And so they're able to correct their own mistakes because they know all the sounds. It really explains to you the spelling rule and what to look for. And I think that that was so helpful for my kids, and to know not only all the sounds, but they're spelling words, because again, they can correct themselves. Like this is one that they use all the time. So if I ask them how to spell something, like if I say spell cry and they spell it C-R-I, I say, okay, do you think that's right? And they'll look at it. Oh, English words do not end in I, U, V, or J. And so I'll say, okay, well, what's another letter that gives the I sound? And they think of all of their letters and they realize that it is Y that should be at the end of cry. So just little things like that. And they knew these at the age of, 5, and they loved it. It wasn't anything, it wasn't a drill. It was, you introduce the rule, they repeat it back to you, and it's introduced over and over consistently until they actually, they're just saying it on their own and they're correcting their own mistakes. In level A, you're working on the sound awareness, the sounds, writing lowercase letters, consonant, vowel, consonant words, consonant blends, high frequency words, fluency, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. With this, you have these fun workbooks. This was like the highlight of their day. And it's very simple stuff. And you're circling as I'm reading. So for these ones, segmenting words. So I would say a word, segmented, and when they knew what it was, they would circle it. Towards the end, they're reading, and those are the consonant, vowel, consonant words, and just drawing a line to the picture. And then there's always a review after every 5 lessons. The review is their favorite part, and it just kind of goes over the things that we discussed, and they get to color in these squares when I say what sound I want them to look for. Towards the end, they're now reading 2 words together and drawing lines. There's also some games that go along with here. And towards the end of book A, it also has you take out, these are the pages in your workbook, you rip them out, and then they cut out the pictures and you glue them into this little book. I staple the spine here for them. And so what they have to do is they have to read down here and find the picture that goes with what it says, and then they glue it into their little book. And they love these little books so much. This is my daughter's and my son's, and there's, I think, this is reader 6. So in book A, there's 6 readers that they'll make, and then they have their own little library. And this is what started my older twins reading. And once they understood sounding out the way they're learning here, and they understood some of the spelling rules, they just took off. It was unbelievable how fast they were reading, and I cannot say enough good things about this program. It is so wonderful. You also get these boards right here because when they're little, you'll want to write words on here, or they can write words, and then the other side has the smaller lines for them to write. You also receive all of the spelling rules that I was kind of going over earlier. You get 3 books. You get the book Dueling Dragons, and the teacher's guide will tell you when to reference this, but it's just basically when you learn a new sound, you will find it in here and read about it. See, for instance, G, you'll learn that G says g, j, right? And so you'll learn over here some words that have both those sounds. Green giants, gorgeous gems, golden gerbils, gingerbread men. And you say it a couple times so they can hear both of those sounds. And then you'll get your basic phonogram cards, and it has the answers for you on the back. It also teaches you what these are and how to read them. I actually learned more using this program than I think I learned in my own language arts education about these marks. So it says the ah, a, ah, and then it gives you examples on those sounds in different words. You also get letter tiles, because further along it's going to have you spell words or have your kids spell words. So you're going to put them all down in front of them, all mixed up, and then they're going to find the correct letters to spell the word that you're asking them to spell. So that's when it works on spelling, and you can really apply and see if they are understanding the spelling rules that you have taught them. When you get to B book, you have your little readers. These are for level B. This is the 4th one. Can Pete pick a pet? Just a couple pages long, and it just kind of reinforces whatever it was that you were learning in that lesson. And the B book, the teacher book for B, this is another one. We moved right on into this, and the kids absolutely loved it. It's very similar, only now in B, we are looking at 2-letter sounds. So we're looking at SH making the sh sound. This also has a rule on the end, on the back. So it gives you rules for when you do or do not use this sound. One of my favorite, I'll show it to you, this one. This one makes ah, oh, ooh, ow, uff, off. So that makes 6 sounds. It's crazy. And so when you get to book C, you also have readers for C. You have another book. You have Knitting Nights and Whistling Whales. And in the C book, you're doing multi-letter phonograms, 2-syllable words, 8 common affixes, 15 spelling rules, comprehension strategies, beginning composition skills. You learn 349 high frequency words, fluency practice, and vocabulary development. But like I said, by the time we were getting into C and kind of halfway through it, my kids were so beyond. They understood every single thing. So it was almost pointless to do this book. If I had a struggling reader, I would keep going, because this program is so good. I almost feel like it was so good that we didn't even need their book C and D because it was that good. Again, I highly, highly recommend this. Book D. So this is the final book, the one that we haven't used. This one has 8 readers, fluency practice, spelling, advanced phonograms, suffixing rules, beginning composition, critical thinking skills. All right, so that is it for Logic of English. I love this. Let me show you one more thing. I would also highly recommend getting this book. You can get it off of their site, or I think you can get it from Amazon as well. I'll put the link in an affiliate link below. This is Uncovering the Logic of English, a common sense approach to reading, spelling, and literacy. This is so amazing. I recommend this to everyone, basically, especially homeschooling moms. Well, I don't know, really anybody who is feeling scared about teaching their kid to read, or worried that they're not going to be able to teach them enough, or things aren't making sense. Again, 5 stars, all the stars for this program. I hope that was helpful. If it was, again, please give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell, and I will chat with you next time. Bye.